Memorial Day perhaps fits our next speaker's purpose more fittingly, but since students aren't in an educational setting at that date, I thought it would be a good idea to link our efforts today to honoring all, even those who are not with us today. In recognition that service is not something to be forgotten, I share with you Mr. Dale Reich. Mr. Reich is a retired college teacher who currently lives in Friendship, Wisconsin. He served in the U.S. Army in the late 1960s and spent a year in Vietnam as an infantryman and later editor of his brigade's newspaper. He has written 13 books and several plays, but he is here today because of his respect for his service. In the last 2 years, he has cleaned the gravestones of over 1,200 veterans and their spouses in the Oconomowoc, Watertown, and other Wisconsin communities. I will let him tell you more. Wilmot and honored guests, please welcome Mr. Dale Reich.
Finding something isn't always easy. There was a fellow once that you don't remember, but folks who are a little bit older do. A fellow by the name of Billy Graham, who was a great evangelist. And he used to travel around and send his message about his religion to people in various communities. One day he arrived in a small town, and he had to mail a letter. So he pulled off to the side of the road, and he met a little boy there, and he said, "Little boy, can you help me out?" A little boy like maybe your little brother at home, think about him doing something like that. And the boy said, "Sure, what can I do for you?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to have to mail this letter." He said, "Where's the post office?" And the little boy said, "Well, just go down here to about 2 blocks and turn to the right. It's right around the corner." He said, "Well, thank you, little boy." He said, "By the way, I'm going to be speaking at the high school auditorium tonight on the subject of how to get to heaven. Would you like to know that? Would you like to come and hear me talk?" And the little boy said, "No." He said, "Well, why not?" He said, "How to get to heaven? You can't even find the post office." So if you find something you really are looking for, it's very satisfying. I hope you all make it to heaven too. I am here because I have a project which I have been working on for the last 2 years, and it began in 1917 in the summer when I was going to visit my grandfather Reich at the Summit Cemetery outside of Oconomowoc, which is my hometown. My grandmother Gertrude lies right next to him. So there were these 2 gravestones, and I went there to pay my respects and to visit them and think about the days when I knew my grandmother. My grandfather unfortunately passed away a year before I was born. And I noticed the gravestones were not very clean. So I decided to take it upon myself to screw them up and make them look like new again. I called a couple of people, I did a little research on the internet, and finally I came up with a secret formula for making a gravestone as clean as it possibly can be after it's been dirty for over 50 years. And the secret is Dawn detergent. Just like they clean those birds in the commercial. A little bit of Dawn, a nice nylon brush, hard nylon brush, you get the job done. Takes a lot of water. Well, I finished up with those 2 gravestones. I stood over my grandfather's grave and I saluted. You see, he's a pretty special guy. About 1917, he was drafted into the Army just like I was 50 years later. He was sent to France. He served in the trenches as a machine gunner, and he was wounded by mustard gas, which was lobbed over by the German Army. He suffered burns to his eyes and was sent to the hospital, and he came home apparently fixed, cured, able to see again, able to go about his business of selling cars in downtown Oconomowoc. And then a few years later, his eyesight began to fail. The mustard gas was working on his optic nerves, and he went blind at the age of 39. A sacrifice for his country. He died at the age of 52. No doubt his service days contributed to his early death. So he's one of my heroes because he and I were both in the trenches, so we both knew what it was like. He told my father, "Don't you dare go in the Army and end up in the infantry." He said, "Do something else, wherever you just don't do that." And so my father didn't wait to be drafted in World War II. He went into the Navy. I wish I would have done that. My grandfather was right. He was kind of miserable in the foxholes in Vietnam, but I survived to come home and to be able to continue to serve my country. When I was looking at my grandfather's grave, and I was looking at my grandmother's grave, and they were nice and shiny, and I finished my salute, I looked around at the other flags sticking up in the cemetery, and I realized there were lots of graves there that were not any better shape than theirs when we started. Some of them were in such bad shape you couldn't read one number, you couldn't read one letter. They were just completely blackened, or they were covered with soot, or lichens, or grass clippings or something else, and they were virtually gone. When you walk into a cemetery or walking into a museum, you're walking into a history lesson of your own community, where people who have served to make us free and give us the liberties that we enjoy today now lie. Some of them died in combat at a very young age. They were heroes. Some of them lived out their lives and are now there and are recognized every Memorial Day and all summer long by the flags that fly there. And I'm looking at these flags, these gravestones, and I realized that my work in that cemetery was not done. So I got to work, bought some more Dawn detergent, and began to clean all the gravestones in Summit Cemetery until I was up to something like 200, and I moved on to the next one and the next one. Then I moved on to Watertown, I did some more, and it's just kept on going for the last couple of years. And I do this for two reasons. Number one, it's to honor those who have died, and to number two, it's to say thank you to those who have died and now lie in those graves. I want their stones to be a recognition, a beautiful recognition, just as the day that they were put in the ground by them, and those stones were set in place, of their service and their sacrifice to our country, for respect and respect only, and because I appreciate what was given to me when I was born into my community. The roads, the libraries, the schools, they were all there because somebody else did it for me. So now it's my turn to say, in addition to the service that I gave in uniform, thank you to those who did something. I'd appreciate it if you'd mention gently to your teachers that perhaps someday in the spring, you guys might go out and clean the cemetery gravestones in this area and pay your tribute if you can. That kind of respect to those veterans will be appreciated by all of us who wore a uniform. It's a wonderful thing to be in America. You only have a 1 in 20 chance of being born into this country when you're born onto this earth. We are privileged. We are privileged especially because somebody sacrificed ahead of us. We cannot lose the respect that they earned by letting their gravestones deteriorate. So that's why I do what I do. You know what? There's only about 35 million more of those stones out there to clean, so I would appreciate some of you helping me on it.